Strap on your boots and put on your underwear, but not necessarily in that order, because it's episode 156 of the Fanboy podcast. I'm Brett Muro, and it's Friday as I'm recording this Friday, July 15th. And boy, do we have a show for you today. It will be another solo edition of the Fanboy podcast this week. Sadly, Mario's abuela passed away yesterday. And obviously, him and his family are contending with that right now. So, if you're on Twitter, send some kind words to Mario. He was very, very close with his grandmother. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman, made a mean Bernil. And you should just send him lots of love and care his way and to him and his family. So sadly, he will not be joining us this week, but I once again did not want to deny our faithful listeners. So here we are. We have a pretty big show. Not a lot of crazy major news, but there are a lot of little topics to go through. It's another Friday morning edition, so I will be enjoying my coffee. This is my fun little officially licensed Nintendo Boo mug, which is awesome because he's a Boo. But the thing that's weird, and I'll try to show you, I tilted it, the top kind of curves in. It's not that conducive for drinking coffee, and it results in a lot of coffee dripping and spilling. So I'm going to really try, because I'm wearing a white t-shirt while I'm drinking coffee, because I'm smart. And I'm going to try not to spill coffee on myself, but inevitably it'll probably happen, and I'll be pretty pissed off. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy my coffee. I'm waking up. I actually like doing these on Friday morning. I mean, Mario and I usually record them Thursday nights, but sometimes if he can't join, and I have some time in the morning, I like to do it. It's just get up. I get to talk to you guys, get to go through all the crazy news. Gives me a couple extra hours, too, in case any other news stories came out. Last night, as I was preparing, originally, we thought we were going to record last night. It didn't seem like there were that many topics, and I found like a couple more that were interesting to talk about. So it kind of paid off. So here we are, folks. Let's do it. Did I say I'm Brett Muro? I'm Brett Muro. All right, folks. So, as always, we're going to start off with what Brett's been watching and playing. And, folks, what have I been doing? So, on the video game front, pretty much been sticking with what I've been talking to you guys about week after week. I'm still playing Tales of Arise. I am still enjoying it. The combat is very fun. It is anime as all hell, but it is the Tales series, as my good friend Isaac, Emblem Maniac on Twitter, as he has always put it, he goes, "What did you expect? It's a Tales game." So he's right. It's great, though. I'm really enjoying it. It's very, very fun. Really, really flashy. A lot of cool special moves and things. And the graphics are absolutely beautiful on PlayStation 5. So still going into that. I dipped back into KIRBY and the Forgotten Land. I finished that. When I say that, I beat the main story. But there's this whole end game and what looks like there's a whole nother special, spoilers, I guess. After you beat the main boss at the end of the little volcano world, it's like World 5 or World 6. There is a whole other section of the game that opens up, and there's still a tons of challenges and little collectibles and things I've missed in the other levels, and you can keep upgrading all of your different power-ups to different levels, and then beyond that, you can start investing more coins and stuff to actually make them more powerful. So there's a lot in here. And I have to say, towards the end, the game did start to get challenging. It's, KIRBY games are usually, everyone always kind of says, oh, they're kiddie games and they're too easy. And they are very easy. They're very simple. But especially towards some of the later boss fights, the game expects you to really start, utilizing all the tools and really think about also what power-ups you're going to be using and what type of enemy you're taking on. I think that does make a difference. KIRBY can actually kind of dodge in this game too, and that becomes very important later on in some of the bosses. You need to dodge some really big attacks that do a lot of damage, and you go into a cool slow-mo, and it makes it into almost more of an action game. Really, really cool. Was not expecting it. I'm enjoying it, and I think I am going to go back and continue with this end game stuff. It's a fun game, just kind of hop in, play a level or two, and then hop back out. So I've been enjoying that. Have I checked anything else out? There was some new additions to the Sega Genesis Online with Nintendo Switch. So if you do have the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, what a name. You do have Sega Genesis games access there, and they just added a couple more. The one I cared about, because I don't know. I don't. I've never played it. And I'm trying to think. It might not have been released in America, but I could be lying. But Mega Man: The Wily Wars, which is actually like a 16-bit remaster of Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. So they took those versions, upgraded them to 16-bit graphics, put it on the Sega Genesis. I don't think the music sounds as good as it does on the NES. I think I like the more lo-fi chiptune, aspect of the soundtrack that's from the original NES releases. But the Sega Genesis has a pretty cool sound chip. But I feel like there's something. Maybe I'm just too used to the other ones, but there's something off about it. But I did start playing Mega Man 2, and I beat I think Airman, and I think I just beat Airman, and then I put it down. But I might actually hop back into it because I'm just curious to see how all the levels look with like the little 16-bit sheen. It's something I've known about this game, but I never played it before. So kind of cool, and I don't think it's ever been re-released. So it's kind of like a weird curio to have in your collection. So yeah, I've been mostly dipping into that. Anything else? I'm trying to think if I've played anything else special. I think that's kind of most of the main things I've been kind of hopping into. I'm also about to go on vacation from work. I have 2 weeks off, so I'm off until August 1st. So I'll have plenty of time, hopefully, to game in between trying to finish up things for my wedding that we have to still book and do. So I will probably not be able to do that much as I'd like to, but I'll definitely get some extra gaming in, and that should be fun. And I'm looking forward. And I also have my bachelor party coming up, so that's going to be. Hopefully, I survive that. So that's what I've been playing. Now watching. There's a little show on Disney Plus called Miss Marvel, and Mario and I talked about it one week, I think, before it came out, and we're both kind of like lukewarm on it. And I was just, I said I don't know if that one's going to be for me, just because of the tone, the setting, and I don't know, but. Thanks to, and if you're listening, you could see the disgust on my face, but thanks to people on Twitter who cannot keep their fucking mouth shut. I unfortunately encountered some spoilers, reveals from the finale. If you haven't gotten spoiled yet, I'm not going to spoil it here, but watch out. But unfortunately, I did see that, but in a way that made me say, well, I guess this is now required viewing. It seems like there's some big stuff, and I listen. The reviews are actually pretty high on it. A lot of people are saying it's one of the better Disney Plus shows. So I said, you know what? Let me give it a shot. So yesterday I watched episode 1 and 2 of Miss Marvel, and it's good. It's good. The writing's really good. It's interesting. I really like actually that they're diving into like the history of Pakistan and her family history, and I think it's really, really neat. It's something that I don't know anything about, and it's super interesting. I'm surprised like how much they've gone into it just in those first 2 episodes, and I heard there's a lot more, but like they really kind of like are starting to like dig into like the politics of it, and that's interesting. That's real world stuff that actually happened, and that a lot of these immigrant families have dealt with, and have these like splits and divides in their family, and there's a lot of like pain and hurt from like British imperialism and stuff like that happened. So really, really interesting. So yeah, like I said, so far the show's really good. The high school setting is not really bothering me, and I shouldn't even. That was stupid of me, I think, to assume that like, oh, it's not for me. Because listen, as you know, you listen to the show. Mario and I love Superman and Lois, which is for better or for worse, has some CW vibes, in it. Even though I think it's not as CW as Arrow and The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, it still has some of those leanings, and that's got a lot of high school drama and good stuff. And I've enjoyed that show, and some of that stuff is actually really, really well written and engaging. And I think that's the same case for Miss Marvel. So yeah, I've watched 2 episodes. I think there's only 6 altogether, if I'm not mistaken. So I watched 2. I think I might try to just bang the rest out. Maybe I'll record another video separately, or we'll wait till next week if Mario returns. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get a chance to watch it. So like I said, maybe I'll do it myself. But I would love to like do like a little like series review of it because it is short. I think I'll be able to get through it. And it seems like all the stuff's really good. From what I've heard, like all the way to the end. It's one of the better Disney Plus shows, what I'm hearing. So stay tuned. I will give you more details. But so far, really enjoying it. I think it's cool. So, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to just open up your mind and you got to try new things. And, I was thinking, oh, I'm a 36-year-old male. What am I going to find to like in this? Guess what? I just fucking like superheroes, man. I just like superhero stuff. So if you do it good and the writing's well, do it good. If you do it well and the writing's good, that probably sounds better. Might not be correct. Don't care. It's early. I didn't finish my coffee. But yeah, guess what? You expand your horizons and you might be surprised. So there you go, folks. Check out Miss Marvel on Disney Plus if you've been resistant to it or haven't want to watch it. I would say give it a shot. Next, our Superman on Film update for July 15th, 2022 is nothing. That's it, folks. There's nothing this week. I got nothing. So let's move on. Top Gun Maverick sinks Titanic. You like that headline? I made it myself. So yeah, Top Gun Maverick just passed Titanic as Paramount's top grossing film. I'm reading this off of IGN.com. So fun fact, if you've listened to Revenge of the Fans, our previous podcast, I probably talked about it, but I've never actually seen Titanic all the way through from start to finish. I've seen clips, I've seen scenes, but I've never seen the whole movie, and I'm proud of it. I'm damn proud. But yeah, Top Gun has earned $601.9 million at the domestic box office, surpassing Titanic's total gross of $600.7 million. So about a $1.2 million more. So this movie is it's a juggernaut. It's become Tom Cruise's highest grossing film ever. And it's earned over $1 billion at the global box office. And it's not a superhero movie, because that's like always the thing. Like, only superhero films can make this kind of money now, and they're the only things that get attention from the studio. And this is a sequel for a movie that's from fucking 30 years old. Like, I don't even know if necessarily anyone was asking for this movie, but just because of the people involved and everyone who came back. And I regret to tell you that I still have not seen this movie. I want to see it. I just have not been able to get to the theater. Work's been kind of hectic and busy these last month and a half, and just haven't had the time. So I don't even know if it's still in theaters, if I can actually catch it on a screen. I may try to do that in the next week if that's possible. Otherwise, I'll just have to wait. But yeah, crazy success. Good for Tom Cruise. I'm a big Tom Cruise fan, as you know. Love him. And I think it's great that this movie came out and that it's doing so well and people are really psyched. And it seems like a real reason to go to the movie theater. It's one of those movies that you probably need to or should see in a theater. And I may have blew my chance. So shame on me. So that's Top Gun Maverick. Let me know, too, if you saw it, what you thought of it. I'm curious for people that maybe didn't like it, because it seems like everyone does. So if you didn't like it, you might be interesting to me, sir or ma'am. Let's move on. The Russo Brothers. So they just had a movie come out called The Gray Man on Netflix. It's with Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling. So they've been doing some press and whatnot, and of course, they're trying to probably promote that movie, and they're just getting a million questions about Marvel stuff. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Lots of questions about Marvel stuff. So, as they, have stepped away since Endgame, they gave us a lot of good Marvel movies. We don't know if they're gone for good necessarily. Maybe, we don't know. But interesting thing came up. They were speaking to Deadline, and apparently that they love, obviously they talked about how much they love Marvel and all that stuff. And the one thing that they have put a lot of thought into and could, be a return for them is if they were able to make Secret Wars. So apparently they love the Secret Wars storyline, and that is something that they've definitely thought about. And, if they were going to come back to Marvel, it seems like they would want to do something like that. Also, talking about that, I'll read, quote, "It's a massive undertaking. Those two movies were very hard to make," meaning Infinity War and Endgame. So trying to imagine making another two movies even bigger than those two, we're going to have to sleep on that. So yeah, that would be a very, very, very big undertaking. If you don't know the Secret Wars, that's the whole thing with the Beyonder, and then he wants the villains and heroes to fight. So he makes a battle world, which is a bunch of other planets and Earth and all this stuff. But that includes Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Doctor Doom, Octopus, Kang the Conqueror, Ultron, and Galactus. So, interestingly enough, obviously we know Fantastic Four is on the horizon. X-Men we know is something that will happen eventually. Obviously we have the Avengers already. We have Spider-Man. If the Fantastic Four come into play, Doctor Doom is coming into play. Kang the Conqueror is already in play. We've had Ultron already, but because of the whole multiverse thing doesn't mean we can't have more Ultrons. And you would assume Galactus comes into the picture with Fantastic Four as well. So we are getting to a point in the MCU where a lot of these characters will now be in and available. Maybe not all the original characters. It might not be the same lineup, but it seems like once a lot of those players are in, that could be something that they do. Now, likely, and I haven't seen the Miss Marvel finale, so I hear like there might be a little more direction on where the Phase 4 is going. But based off of like the Loki show, I think we know that Kang the Conqueror is going to be the new big bad moving forward. So it looks like we're going to have that. So if there is a Secret Wars, I don't see that happening until like after this Kang the Conqueror thing wraps up. Whatever they're building towards with that. We don't really know the plan. We have no idea. Unless you've seen the finale of Miss Marvel, then you might know the plan. And I don't, because I'm trying not to spoil that part. That I actually don't know. There was another spoiler that got spoiled for me because, websites are great and love just like putting shit right in the headlines and right in the tweets. And then everyone just willy-nilly on Twitter just fucking tweeting stuff, not thinking about other people. You're freaking selfish. I can't stand it. I can't stand all the damn spoiling bullshit. Can you guys stop? The fucking finale came out like a week ago. There's got to be like a moratorium. We have to all agree as fans on like a little moratorium on like not talking about it. Like, can we give it maybe a month? Maybe a month. Give people a month to fucking watch it and catch up. The next day, people are just fucking plastering shit all over the internet. It's really obnoxious. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I shouldn't go on social media, but fucking I do the podcast. I have to go on a little bit. I got to see a little bit of what's going on. I got to get those little announcements that happen. Some of those things just come out on Twitter. Boom. I need to know the news. I need to know it quick. But everyone fucking spoils everything. So if you're one of those people, stop it. I'm not going to mute shit. You can say, oh, Brett, why don't you just block people? Oh, Brett, why don't you just mute shit? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not muting any words because I'll fucking inevitably forget one and then it'll still come through. And it's a bunch of baloney. So I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You do it. So let us know if you'd like to see Secret Wars, if you do want to see that on screen. Yeah. Venom symbiote, right? We got a little bit of that in there, so we could also, that's part of it. That's in there. We got a little Tom Hardy Venom juice left behind in the MCU, right? Secret Wars. All right. Now, speaking of Secret Wars, bad transition. It's witch time. So Bayonetta 3 finally has a release date. This is a Platinum Games joint, so they are the developers. Nintendo now publishes, as of Bayonetta 2, they publish it, and it's kind of considered like a Nintendo franchise now. It's exclusive to Nintendo at this point. Bayonetta 1 was released on everything. Bayonetta 2, exclusive to Nintendo. Bayonetta 3 is finally coming. We hadn't heard much about it. We have a release date, folks. It's October 28th. The game is also super anime, but it's an awesome action game. I'll be honest, I never played Bayonetta 1. I've only played Bayonetta 2. I have no idea what's going on in the story. I have no clue, but damn, the game is fun to play, and it looks really pretty on the Switch. It's a really good-looking game. It's fast-paced, 60 frames per second, and it's just awesome action combat, and Bayonetta is a dope-ass character. So that's just what it is. So we got a new trailer to announce the release date. Bayonetta, once again, she got a new hairstyle. She got some new stuff going on. The big addition to this is they're doing like these big like kaiju battles. So at certain points you like become or control like some kind of big, demon from like the witch underworld or whatever. And that looks awesome. And it looks like she can also transform into like different monster-ish creatures. And I'm excited. The game's going to be dope. There's a new character. There's a witch in training. Her name is Viola. She, looks like a cool punk sword witch teenager girl. She seems a little, just from the trailer, she's like seems a little like stereotypical annoying like brash teenager. So like it's very, a lot of the games, that's the only thing. The games are very tropey, so you kind of get, what they're gonna do. You kind of know, oh, I know this character, what they're gonna do. They're gonna be like real brash and that and all that stuff, and then they'll get like humbled, and then that'll be that. So yeah, you understand what's happening with that. There's also apparently like multiple Bayonettas in this. I don't know. There's gonna be some weird, freaky, weird, dimensional shit or time travel stuff or something. I don't know. But it looks awesome. So I'm excited. October 28th. I'm gonna pick it up. I love Bayonetta too. I'm gonna probably pick this one up too. So Bayonetta, folks. Bayonetta. Dope. Okay. Now, moving on. We're on the release date train. Another release date revealed. God of War Ragnarok. We finally got the release date after people were, kind of being really disgusting to the developers and being like, just give us the release date already. If it's going to get pushed, you're supposed to tell us. People like, it's fucking entitled. You are such trash if you do that. Also, I'm going to call it out too. There were people straight up sending like dick pics to female developers on the development team demanding the release date. If you do that, you are a huge piece of shit. And like, if you did that and you listen to the show, please unsubscribe and don't listen to the show anymore. Like, you are absolute fucking garbage. I'm just going to say it. If you are harassing developers over release date, they will reveal it when they're damn well ready. They don't owe you shit. They don't. I know as gamers, we seem very entitled and we want to get everything right away and we want to know when things are coming out. And, I've seen people even going like, I need to plan how I'm going to spend my money. So I need to know when games are coming out. Shut the fuck up, bro. No one owes you a thing just because you pay money for games. Like, people act like, oh, I'm paying your paycheck, so you should fucking tell me. No, dude. No one owes you that. They'll release the game when it's fucking ready and when it makes sense for their company. Like, and when it's planned and when it's all well and good. No one owes you shit. Stop being entitled. Stop being weird gatekeepers. Just stop that shit. You make all gamers look bad and you're fucking garbage. So, hey, just getting real. I'm fired up. It's a fired up Friday. All right? You're fucking garbage if you do that. Leave these people alone. They're literally putting their heart and soul to make these nice games for you, and you are just being absolute trash. So please don't do that. God of War. Anyway, God of War Ragnarok has a release date. It's November 9th, 2022, coming very soon. I find it interesting that they didn't take the November 11th date that Starfield previously occupied. They were doing 11/11/22. And as we know, they ended up unveiling that release date, and then like a couple of weeks later they pushed the game into 2023. They pushed it, I think, into like summer or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. It's a little ways out. Maybe they just didn't want to be like snarky and take that date, so they took November 9th. So we're getting God of War Ragnarok. We got a little 30-second CG trailer, and the trailer at the end of it shows a giant wolf, which, if you know Norse mythology, we know as Fenrir. Now, the interesting thing is, so spoilers for God of War, if you haven't played it, I mean, it came out in 2018, so I feel like the moratorium on that one is okay. But it takes place in Norse mythology. There's a little reveal at the end that Atreus, Kratos' son, is actually Loki in Norse mythology. So if you know the Norse mythology, Fenrir is actually the son of Loki. So it kind of doesn't make sense because Loki, or Atreus at this point, is, like a young teen. So how he could have had a wolf son is, I don't know. But also, if you even go back to the first game, the world serpent, which is that big giant snake that you see, is also technically in Norse mythology Loki's son, or offspring, or whatever you want to call it. If you think about it, it kind of makes your head explode. But anyway, well, the other thing too is that this Ragnarok, this storyline of God of War was intended to be a duology. So it is actually just this game, the first game, and this game, and that's going to wrap up the storyline. So we should be getting payoffs on some of those little reveals in the first game, and this should close the story out and maybe give us some answers on the whole Fenrir World Serpent Loki kid thing. It's also very, very possible, and probably what's going to happen is that they are just playing fast and loose with the Norse mythology. They're not going like exactly with it, or there could be some weird, time stuff. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm very excited for this game. I'm also thinking while I'm off these next 2 weeks, I may do a playthrough of the original God of War. I think I may hop back into that game and just do like a playthrough on hard mode, but as a new game plus, so I get to carry over all of my equipment. I did actually start doing that like months ago. I hopped in, but I played for like, I don't know, like 2 seconds. So I think I just got past like the initial like opening area. So I could probably continue from there, but they did do an update. So if you are a PlayStation 5 owner, they did add a 60 frames per second mode. So that game just looks fantastic. I cannot wait to see how this game looks. It is coming out on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, God of War Ragnarok. They're doing the thing that Horizon Forbidden West did, because obviously it's still hard to get a PlayStation 5, and there's still a lot more PS4s in the wild. So hopefully that doesn't hold it back too much, and the PS5 version can, really excel in the graphics department. But unfortunately, when you do some of the last gen stuff, it does hold some aspects back. I'm expecting this game to be iterative of the first game. I think they will clean up a few things. I think the game will look a little prettier on PS5. But I'm mostly in this for the story. I'm not expecting this to like reinvent what the first game did. I'm sure there will be some other little modes, and maybe they'll clean up some little clunky stuff in combat or puzzle solving and everything. But for me, it's all about the story. So as long as that's good, and if the game plays almost even identical to the first one, I can live with that. Like, I'm not expecting a radical reinvention from the sequel. I just want a good end to the story. So God of War Ragnarok, November 9th. Get your wallets ready. This fall is turning out to be awesome, and I think there's still going to be a few more little surprises coming our way from, not necessarily from PlayStation, but just in the video game world. I think there's going to be a couple of little sneaky things that kind of come through. I think Nintendo might have a couple of little secrets up their sleeve. So anyway, we're going to be eating good, folks. We're eating good, and don't be shitty to developers. Please don't do that. Next, speaking, I was going to do something. We don't like to punch down on this show, and I was about to punch down, and now I'm a hypocrite. But a trailer came out for Rob Zombie's next film, which is The MUNSTERS. Like an origin story for The MUNSTERS, the old like black and white TV show that I personally don't really have any special love for. I don't know that. I'm wondering who this movie is for. I don't know. Like, this is not one of those things that I feel like anyone was clamoring for it to come back. Like I could think like my parents used to watch the MUNSTERS growing up, like probably like people my age or a little older that they have parents in like their 60s or 70s. Like, they probably have familiarity for it. I could tell you right now, I haven't asked him yet, but I'm going to ask my dad. But I'm going to tell my dad that this movie's happening, and I'm curious to see if he even gives a shit one iota. Like, that's the crowd you'd be grabbing the nostalgia from, and I feel like none of them care or want this. I don't think anyone loved the MUNSTERS that much. As far as a new audience jumping onto it, I don't know. So I don't know if you saw this trailer. It just might not be for me, right? But if you saw this trailer, it's like really. It looks like it's made like cheaply. Like it looks like it was made back when the show came out. It's in color, obviously, this time, not black and white. But it's like an origin story, like Herman Munster meets woman Munster. I don't even know her name. Woman Munster, and her father, who's like a vampire. Well, she's a vampire too, and obviously her father's a vampire, the Count. So yeah, it seems like some kind of origin story where they meet and fall in love or something, and it just looks bizarre. I just don't know who it's for. I'm not like, again, we don't want to punch down. We don't want to punch down on this show, but I don't know who it's for. I don't know. It seems really weird. I don't know. It's coming out this fall, I think, and I guess if that's something you're into, it's coming out in September. It's coming out in like 2 months. So I don't know. I don't know, man. The MUNSTERS. The MUNSTERS. All right, so moving on. Speaking of monsters, Gizmo versus Grogu. The fight we've all been waiting for. So the Gremlins director, Joe Dante, straight up says, I'm going to give you the quote. Okay. Here's the quote. Joe Dante said, "The longevity of the Gremlins movie is really key to this one character, Gizmo, who is essentially like a baby. Which brings me, of course, to the subject of Baby Yoda, who is completely stolen and is just out and out copied. Shamelessly, I would think." So I actually never thought about this before. I don't think. Maybe I said it on a podcast once, but like it's not something that enters my mind very often. But yeah, I'm looking at a picture of them side by side right now, and they do look very similar. Understand? So I mean, Joe Dante though, like I don't know, man. What have you even done lately? And like, listen, people like the Gremlins a little bit. I don't. Is the Gremlins that big of a popular franchise? Like, yeah, I listen. I used to watch the shit out of it when I was little. I watched Gremlins all the time. I have not ever wanted to go back and rewatch it or anything like that. I don't know if there's any like real big Gremlins stands out there, but yeah, listen, they're a little similar looking. It's the big ears, but also like Yoda had big ears, so like that species in its younger form has to have big ears. So it's a coincidence. They have the big eyes, the mouth's a little similar, but you know, I don't know. It just seems like this guy just wants to get a little press. Like I don't know, Joe Dante, like don't be shitting on Grogu. Don't be shitting on Baby Yoda. Interesting though. Interesting comparison. Um, Oh, I didn't even realize. See, I'm so out of touch. So Gizmo will soon be returning in a younger form. I thought he was already young. In Gremlins: Secrets of the Mogwai, a 10-episode animated prequel series set to debut on HBO Max. It's set in 1920s Shanghai and tells the story how a naive 10-year-old Sam Wing met the young Mogwai known as Gizmo. So that's happening. That's going to be a thing. Don't feed him after midnight. So yeah, Joe Dante's mad about it, and he straight up called it out. And I mean, I'm not saying he's like that wrong, but also like your shit's irrelevant, and this is Star Wars. So sorry, Joe Dante. Speaking of Joe Dante, yeah, I'm not going to do that one. That's a bad transition. But hey, something I do really want to talk about is we just got a trailer for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. So we got a big ass trailer for the new Amazon series that is supposed to be like their Game of Thrones. As we know, this takes place in the second age of Middle Earth. We still don't know that much, but we do know that basically it's about Sauron's rise to power, and I guess his first big battle where he gets his butt kicked. So we got a bunch of beautiful shots. They did shoot a lot of this like on location, I think in like New Zealand and stuff like that. So it does have a similar look and feel to the films from Peter Jackson. But this is like largely using like a probably not as popular unless you're a big Tolkien fan, era. So we get to see elves, we got to see the dwarves, we got to see the men, we got to see the Harfoots. So for those of you that are not up on your Lord of the Rings Tolkien lore, Harfoots are one of the 3 types of hobbits. They're technically a little darker skinned, and I believe they're a little bit on the shorter side. So we do have some hobbit love in there. Yeah, man, it looks awesome. Definitely a lot of CG, of course, because like you can shoot on location all you want, but like some of these really fantastical realms and things, you can't like literally build like an entire like elven castle, because that would just be too much money. But Amazon spent a lot of money on this. I like the look of the show. I'm super excited. I think I'm gonna really try to like get into this one. This is gonna be my big fantasy show with too many characters that I get into, because I've never seen Game of Thrones. Don't tell anyone. I had to have said that before. I've never seen Game of Thrones. Totally would be up my alley, but when everyone got mad at the season finale, it totally killed any steam I had on possibly going to like watch that show. It just totally killed it for me. And maybe I shouldn't let that stop me, because I hear like almost everything else leading up to it is very, very good. But at this point, I just feel like that ship has sailed. So I'm just going to wait for the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power ship to come on, and I'm going to hop on that ship and ride it into the horizon. That's what I'm going to do. So let me know what you think. I kind of want to see from the listeners like what the hype level is on this. Are you like just like over Tolkien? Do you not like high fantasy? I love high fantasy. What do you think? I'm not like by any means like a Tolkien expert. I haven't read like all the books, but I do very much enjoy all the movies. Um, and I do like just like the high fantasy style, and I love the story. I think the story is just like it's good old classic fantasy tropes and stuff, and I love that. I love all the magic. I love all the wizards. I love all the weird races. That's my happy place. So Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Go check out the trailer if you haven't. It's coming out September 2nd on Amazon Prime. So we're not actually too far away, a couple months away. Next, something that I didn't see coming, really cool. And I'll love it because I'm a diehard Nintendo fan. Nintendo acquired this animation studio called Dynamo Productions. And when that deal completes, which is expected to complete around October, they will be rebranded as Nintendo Pictures. So what this is going to mean, what is this going to do for Nintendo? So obviously they already have a relationship with Universal. The theme parks are there. Universal owns Illumination Studios that is working on the Super Mario Brothers movie, the one with Chris Pratt as Mario and a bunch of other great celebrities doing the voices. So that is a thing that is still happening. And this company, I looked up kind of what they've been involved in. So they've done it looks like they've done a lot of anime. Looks like 2D animation, CG animation. They've done some motion capture. So it looks like they're experts in kind of doing animation for all different styles. And you have to imagine Nintendo's trying to get into maybe doing some TV. If they're doing a movie, they're 100% going to do some TV. It makes sense. We had those rumors a long time ago that I think recently were like kind of confirmed that there was a Legend of Zelda TV show in development with Netflix, or there were talks about it. And when that leaked that was happening, Nintendo just said, fuck this, and pulled the plug. So I think they want to keep everything as in-house as possible so there's no leaks and they can kind of plan. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I know Isaac will be really happy. I'm sure they were going to totally do like a Fire Emblem animated TV show or something. I think that would be awesome. I think that show is a big hit, and I think people would be very, very, very into that. I could see also, I mean, I don't know if you remember because this game didn't do that well, but this game Star Fox Zero came out on the Wii U, and they did actually make a little anime. I don't know. I guess was it like just like one episode or something? I'm trying to think if it was more than one. You can actually catch it on YouTube. Star Fox Zero. Look it up. It's like a little anime, and it was fucking awesome. Like I was like, I will watch the show, make the show. So I'm kind of hoping that that happens. They bring that Star Fox anime back because it was a really good proof of concept, and it was really enjoyable and cool, and I dug it. So that would be, but yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit, right? What they could do with this. Also the possibility this would fall under, maybe making content for the theme park so they could have little videos and advertisements and screens and like little things going on for like the rides. I would assume there's like little, like, animated things happening around you to like immerse you in the park. So that's something that they could be contributing to. Like I said, obviously TV shows, possible they could be helping with stuff for games. Maybe Nintendo wants to up the, production of some of the animation in some of their games, or like cutscenes and stuff like that. So they could be bringing in this team's expertise to do that. So there's a lot of implications for this, but yeah, Nintendo's interesting because like Microsoft and Sony are going up, just gobbling up companies, buying Activision, buying, there's rumors that Square Enix wants to get bought. And then obviously if they're it's probably going to be Sony. All that's happening. Nintendo, quietly bought Next Level Games, who made Luigi's Mansion 3 and just recently released Mario Strikers Battle League. Obviously, very talented studio. They worked very well with them. They ended up acquiring them, but they're not on like a crazy thing. But Nintendo's, they want to expand their IP. They're very shrewd and careful about what they do, and then they just kind of, quietly like suck this company up. And you gotta. And, listen, it's going to be called Nintendo Pictures. So, like, what do you think they're doing? They're going to do more movies, more TV shows, and expand that IP to bring in more revenue. And, listen, Nintendo has some of the most recognizable, incredible IPs on the planet. So it makes sense that they would do this. And, hopefully it's something that they can have some success with. And they do it right, So I'm actually pretty pumped for that. If you are a Nintendo fan like me, I would love to hear some ideas of like what you think you'd like to see come out of this deal. What types of shows, what types of content. Like I said, I already think Fire Emblem is like a no brainer. I 100% think that's happening. I mean, it's anime. It's like a legit anime. The games are super anime. They have a lot of like dialogue and cutscenes. So like it makes and there's so many characters. It makes perfect sense to bring that. But and my pipe dream is that the Star Fox, that animated Star Fox show, wasn't even a show. It was, like I said, just like one little, like, I don't know, it's like a 15-minute thing, if that, that they released, as a promotional thing. But that would be really, really cool. It seems like they could do something in the Splatoon world too. They built out a lot of lore for that. That's a big popular franchise. They could use that to draw Earthbound. Since we're not getting any new games, which is the Mother series, could be really cool if they did a series like that. I feel like that would really work well in animation. How funny would it be if we're always clamoring and asking for Mother 3 to be re-released, and they won't do it for whatever reason? How funny would it be if they just like make like an anime or a show for that, and they're like, "You wanted Mother 3? We've finally given it to you," and it's just a fucking show of the story of that game. I don't know if people would be pissed or excited or both, but that seems like a very Nintendo thing to do. So yeah, you have that. I mean, I don't know. They could revive, some. There was an F-Zero anime. They could bring that back. That was cool. They have some franchises that like maybe they don't know what to do with them for games, but like they could revive them in some fashion this way, and that could also maybe spark interest in making a new game in that series. So I'm curious, like how they're going to utilize this, like strategically, maybe having stuff like come out, when our game releases, and just have like this like whole cross media, plan. Could be a lot of promising stuff coming out. I'm excited. Obviously, you could tell. I'm pumped. And folks, I am bad and did not prepare well. But I'm going to bring up, we actually had some listener questions, which, remember, folks, you can always email us at the Fanboy Podcast at gmail.com and ask us questions. You can also tweet at us at the Fanboy Show, or you could tweet directly at Mario at Superman on Film, or you can tweet at me at Super Breckon. And, I love to get questions from you guys. Absolutely love it. And I'm going to pull up my inbox now because I forgot and then I remembered. Okay. So have a bunch of questions in here. There is a few. There's actually one in here in particular that I think I will wait for Mario because I think I would really like him to weigh in on it. But yeah, we have from Tan Eugene. Or Tan Eugene. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. But thank you, Tan, for contacting us. So Tan says, ever since Superman the movie and Man of Steel came out, why has Warner Brothers still having a very hard time planning to do another Superman movie? Shouldn't the Superman franchise have the same love and respect like the Spider-Man movies and the Batman movies currently have? Very curious to hear your thoughts. Now, I feel like there's been we've definitely kind of like danced around this and talked about it on the show before, but I think that's about to change just because of the news we have coming out that they are fast tracking a Superman film and the new guard with David Zaslav and Discovery coming into Warner Brothers Discovery and taking over. I think he felt the same way as you, Tan Eugene, or Eugene Tan. Maybe it's Eugene Tan. The way your name shows up is Tan Eugene. It's probably Eugene Tan. So I'm listen, we're doing it in real time, guys. We're figuring out in real time. So I'm gonna call you Eugene, and hopefully I got it right this time. So Eugene, I think they had the same thoughts of you. I think this guy David Zaslav came in and he said to them, "What the fuck are you doing? Why can't you get a Superman movie off the ground? He is the superhero. He's like the first superhero. He is the one. He is the one that all other superheroes were like, born out of, basically. So why do you not have something in production? Why is he languishing? Why did you do what you did with him in the previous iterations?" So I think it was just, I think it was like just a lot of things. I think obviously, and not to like, I'm not blaming Zack Snyder, so like, yeah, please don't take this out of context. But I don't know that his take on Superman was a little polarizing, right? I think some people absolutely love it, and I'm one of them that I do like. Man of Steel is like my favorite Superman movie, really. So I think there are people that love it. I think there are people that kind of hated it, or not hated it, but like were a little disappointed by it. And I think that might have also sunk uh, people's faith in the character because the reception and the money maybe wasn't as much as they thought with Superman. Like that character like should be raking in billions of dollars. And I think the studio, I think Snyder had a very specific interpretation of it that was polarizing. And then when the studio saw the results of that, I think they just kind of got confused and were, I think they were kind of like shocked that like, oh, why is this not working? Maybe people don't like Superman anymore. I think they got kind of cold feet and they didn't really know how to figure out the character. Obviously Mario and I love Superman and Lois, and I think they absolutely nailed the character on that show. To each their own. You might not agree, but for me, that is like, I think I've said it before. He's my Superman. Like he totally embodies the character for me and what that character stands for. I think that show does an amazing job. So, with the success of that, I think hopefully the powers that be are seeing that and how how it's working out for them and how the character is displayed there, and that they can translate that into a successful film. Yeah, because you're absolutely right, Eugene. They should. He should be getting the same love and respect as Spider-Man and Batman and all that, if not more. He's like the face of DC. I mean, arguably people say Batman's kind of the face of DC now. I mean, his Detective Comics, and he's obviously the character that they keep going back to that well. For better or for worse for some people. I love Batman, so give me all the Batman, but some people are sick of Batman. Understandably. He's always on the forefront. But yeah, it's time for Superman to shine. So I think the old guard had a lot of trouble with that. I think the new guard understands that they need to have a Superman in there that's like, leading the charge. And I think that's what's happening. I know we commented on some rumors a few weeks ago, that the Ta-Nehisi coach script was done, but now they're going to kind of do some rewrites. And but yeah, I think I don't know if we'll hear, I would love to hear something by the end of this year, at least have like a casting or some kind of idea on the plot. We'll see, but I think we'll see something by I think it's likely we'll see a Superman film by 2024. I think realistically they can get something shot next year, and then 2024 get it up into the theaters. So I don't think we're 2 years away. It kind of feels like a lot, but I think it feels very far away, but it's also very close. So I think Eugene that they will figure it out. I think this new guard is going to figure it out. Now, Eugene, you also sent us another question. Thank you. I appreciate all these questions. Seriously, like you can send us multiple questions because some weeks we don't get questions. I'll be honest, we don't. So please do it. Well, I love to talk about this stuff. We love to answer the questions. So now, Eugene asks us here: ever since Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness came out, what are the possibilities of Sam Raimi directing a Spider-Man movie again? It would be great to see Sam Raimi coming on board as the director for the fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. So I believe Sam Raimi has commented on this, and he said like never say never, and he seemed to have a really good time on the Multiverse of Madness. He seemed to enjoy No Way Home and getting to see ostensibly his villains from his film. I mean, it was his Green Goblin, his Doc Ock, and Tobey Maguire in there, and I think that kind of reinvigorated him a bit. I don't see personally. I don't know if he would come back and do a Spider-Man movie. Well, if he would come back and do a Spider-Man movie, I think it would be maybe like a continuation of the Tobey Maguire one. I would want to see him like come back and like hook us up with like older Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that's, married to Mary Jane. Maybe he has his daughter like in the comics, and do something like that and do like an older, Spider-Man that's dealing with family and stuff like that, because we haven't seen that on screen yet. I don't see him coming to direct the Tom Holland one, honestly. I feel like I wonder what's even going to happen with the fourth Tom Holland movie, but yeah, I don't see Sam Raimi coming to do that one. If they announced it, I wouldn't be like upset or mad. But I feel like if he's gonna go do a Spider-Man movie again, my opinion, I think he would bring back his kind of version of the universe. And now that we have the multiverse, he could totally do that, and that can just coincide with everything. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the Tom Holland Spider-Man, who basically at the as of the end of No Way Home, has finally struck like the typical status quo of Peter Parker Spider-Man, where he's like just kind of like a nobody, and he's got he's got the homemade suit, no fancy, things. It's just him, struggling to get by, which is like, the Peter Parker status quo that we all know and love. Yeah. And then, we got that glimpse of Toby in No Way Home, and, he mentioned that, he's still with Mary Jane and stuff like that. I wonder if Kirsten Dunst would come back. There could be a really cool story to tell there. So if anything, I think Sam Raimi would come back to revisit his Spider-Man universe. I don't see him doing the Tom Holland one. But yeah, if it does happen, that's cool. I think it's great. Although I will say, even though Multiverse Madness was definitely more horror tinged, and that's more Sam Raimi's thing, Sam Raimi didn't really do horror stuff in the Spider-Man trilogy that he directed. But the editing was a little crazy and all over the place in Multiverse of Madness, and I don't know if that's like, do I blame that on the editor? Do I blame that on Sam Raimi? But some of that was like a little. There was just parts of that movie that were like a little like uneven for me, even though I enjoyed it. So I don't know, Eugene. I got a third question from you, and baby, we're doing it, Eugene. You're getting all the questions this week because I like them. You have good questions. You have great questions. I love them. Tom Cruise did an incredible job in movies like The Mission Impossible, Top Gun Maverick, Jack Reacher, and Edge of Tomorrow. Is it very likely that he'll be joining the John Wick franchise? It will be great to see Tom Cruise playing as the main villain in John Wick Chapter 5. So, it's interesting. You asked this question too, kind of funny. So, I love Tom Cruise, big fan. Mickey Rourke recently, he was on some show and he made a comment on Tom Cruise, and he said that, I don't know the exact quote, but he more or less said that like Tom Cruise plays the same character. He just plays Tom Cruise in every movie, and he doesn't challenge himself anymore. So he threw some shade at him. And I love Tom Cruise, and I think he does challenge himself, but maybe in the more physical, the stunt realm. But he, I think it's fair to say that Tom Cruise has a character that he plays. And, the last time we really saw him do something like really, really, really different was the movie Collateral, where he is a villain, like a hitman in that. And that's Tom Cruise, like really doing something a little different and really engaging, really, really good. So we've seen him as a villain before, and I think that would be really cool. I would love to see him in the John Wick franchise, like him and Keanu Reeves going at it, and like both of them doing their crazy stunts and like fighting and all that stuff. That would be and it would be a cool thing to see Tom Cruise just being a villain, chewing scenery, and really just like being not his normal self. So that would, I am all about this idea. I love this idea, Eugene. I hope, from your lips to God's ears, as they say, I hope that happens. But, yeah, I would love to see Tom Cruise like start, especially now that he's wrapping up the Mission Impossible franchise, like this Part 1, Part 2, Dead Reckoning. I'm just like that's pretty much going to be the end for him. So I hope that maybe after that he'll want to go and start doing some like weirder, like different types of movies and different types of characters, because I think he actually is a very, very talented actor. And he's very good and solid in all of his films. That's because he's a good actor, not because he's, some people say like, when someone plays like, a similar character type all the time, you just go, oh, that's the only thing they can do. But the reason his movies keep making money and doing well is because he's fucking good at it. It's not because he's not talented and can only play that one type of character. He's really fucking good at it though. Like I'm still not sick of him playing that character, whether he's just playing badass Tom Cruise, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sick of it because he's always good. He's always reliable. He always delivers. So, it's weird. It's a weird thing, right? Like I don't know. You could bash him for it. You could praise him for it, like being consistent. That's not easy. It's not easy. listen, I come from the acting world. I've never done any big things. I've done like a pilot, done a lot of theater, you know what I mean? But I studied it, like I have a degree in it. I love it. I mean, I could sit there and just examine and watch, actors and their faces like all day. As you probably know, I'm always like, I could just watch this. This show stunk, but I love that actor and I could watch him all day. I will find something to love, even if it's just latching onto a performance. So yeah, so I mean, you could bash him all you want, but he's always good. He's always consistent. He always delivers. But yes, I would love to see him. Like, one of the most fun things I should mention too, obviously, was it was a comedy role and it was like a smaller part, but Tropic Thunder, where Tom Cruise played was it Len Wiseman or whatever? I hope I got the name right. Hysterical, really weird, really out of character for Tom Cruise. But I mean, it wasn't like a, sink your teeth in like kind of role. It was just something like really goofy. But yeah, I want to see him do some weird ass shit. Like, I want to see him really go out there and try something different, or return to being a villain. I think he's really, really good at that. He's just got like an intensity about him that I appreciate. And like, he just, he's a hardworking guy and he commits. So like, what else more could you ask for? And yeah, there's one other question, but I'm going to save it. I'm going to save this question for when Mario returns. This is from Mike Lee. So Mike Lee, I want to let you know, I did get your email. We did receive it. I'm going to save it for Mario. You have an awesome question / topic in here. And it's something I've never given thought to before. And also it's, amazing that we have a listener from China. I had no idea we had a listener from China. That's fucking cool. So we're international. Fanboy Podcast is international. That is really cool, Mike. Thank you for reaching out. And when Mario returns, we will definitely get to this question. I want him to weigh in on this. I think it's important that we both. I don't think I will do it 100% justice. Maybe I'll get 70% of the way there. But Mike, thank you for reaching out, and hang tight. We will get to that question next week. I promise. Eugene, thank you for your trifecta of amazing topics and questions this week. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. It really got me thinking, and it was a pleasure to hear from one of our listeners. Really awesome stuff. I love that. Now, before we wrap up today, folks, I want to talk about The Boys Season 3 finale. So spoilers for The Boys Season 3 finale. If you have not watched it, go away. Turn it off. Come back after you watched it. Just want to give just some quick, I'm not going to go like crazy, just some quick reactions. So my quick reaction overall is that Season 3 of The Boys was fucking awesome. It was pretty much perfect. Like, there were no filler episodes, in my opinion. Every episode was a banger. It all moved the story forward. And as crazy as the season started out, with a lot of wild shit that I've never seen before on television, I mean, spoilers if you haven't seen any of The Boys, spoilers. But we opened up the first episode with the termite, who's like an Ant-Man analog, shrinking down and going into a man's penis, and then sneezing and growing big while inside of him and exploding the guy into pieces. So like that, the season started out with that. There was just a lot of crazy shit, as you expect, very bloody, very violent. And then we get to a season 3 finale that still had, all the fighting, the violence, all that stuff, but was like, it felt like a lot more mature and, a little more like serious and it was just an amazing season. I mean, the Trump analog with Homelander, you can't be avoided. Kind of amazing that they pulled that off. I thought it worked really, really well. Just like him doing like these crazy acts and then being like totally like what do you call it? Like put on a pedestal for it. Like he just murdered a guy straight up because he threw something like at his son. He like melted a guy's head in front of everybody and everyone's cheering. And Mother's Milk, his wife's like new husband, isn't it Todd? I think he has a bad name like Todd. He just, what a piece of shit, right? The season I think was tremendous, and I thought the way that the series, the season finale ended. So we had the big showdown with we had the big reveal the last episode that Soldier Boy is technically the biological father of Homelander, which is a twist, and that's something that's not in the comics, I believe. And we did, Homelander got Ryan, his son, and tried to like make that familial connection with Soldier Boy to kind of be like, hey, it's our grandson, and like do that. And then Soldier Boy just like the epitome of toxic masculinity, right? Just being like, you're a pussy. Like just totally being like I reject you as my son. Like, I can't believe I produced you almost, which really I think cut to Homelander's heart. And they have like a big old fight. And then, kind of everyone realizing in a way that they need to stop Soldier Boy. The whole plot was to get Soldier Boy to kill Homelander. And then they finally get to the end and realize like, we fucking have to protect and save Homelander, or like what are we? If we do that, if we let that. So we get that awesome fight between them. We get Maeve getting to fucking throw down with Homelander in an awesome fight. She almost, defeated him. She really took him out. He takes one of her eyes out, which was particularly woo. I was like, oh god, that was bad. He stuck like his thumb in her eyeball and crushed her eyeball. But then she is the real hero, and as Soldier Boy is about to like nuke everybody with his like weird nuke chest, she grabs him and jumps out the window and saves everybody basically. So she's actually the only like hero there, which is amazing. We got to see some cool stuff. Starlight, if she absorbs enough studio light power, or I guess any light, she can actually fly. So her power levels are way more beyond than anything we thought. And she actually stunned and kind of like knocked Soldier Boy out a little bit to get him out of the fight. But yeah, that I'm like rambling a little bit because I did watch it like, I don't know, it's been a week or so. But yeah, overall, I thought it was like a really, really strong finale. They left it off in a really cool place, for next season. And, Billy Butcher he's terminal, unless they reverse that because, superhero stuff, comic movie stuff. But he's terminal from doing the Compound V, or the V, whatever it was called. But he was injecting that stuff and apparently his brain is just melting into goo. He stopped, Huey from doing it. Instead of just telling him, he just did it in his own butcher fashion by punching him and knocking him out and locking him in the bathroom. But overall, awesome season. Every episode was awesome. Great finale. And I am very excited for season 4 of that show. I think Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, I think no one does Unhinged better than him. Like he is terrific to watch. Like all of his just little facial, twitches and like little ticks and stuff is really, really, really something to watch. He's incredible. And now he's going to turn his son into a piece of shit. So that's season 3. So my reaction is it's fucking awesome. I'm sorry I rambled. My thoughts are all over the place. There were a lot of moments I really enjoyed and liked. I don't feel like I articulated myself as well as I wanted to, but I don't know. I just don't have the words right now. And I just did an hour by myself. So amen. Amen to me. All right, folks. Well, that wraps it up for this week's episode of the Fanboy Podcast. I thank you for joining me on this wonderful episode 156. Like I said, please give love and positive thoughts to Mario, either just mentally through the universe or, definitely send him some love and encouragement on Twitter, for the passing of his abuela. But thank you guys for bearing with me. Thank you for listening to me say a bunch of times. And, I appreciate all the love you show me. I've kind of like, for me, it's always like, this has always been Mario's show. And then he was kind enough to bring me in on it. He wanted to, make it more of a discussion and not always do like a solo one. And, especially in the last couple of weeks, just because of scheduling and stuff, I've been here. I know, listen, I know a lot of you come here for Mario because Mario has a little more insider information, a little more inside scoops. He's the Superman guy. And, I know he's built a lot of trust over the years and has been doing this for a long time, but, I really, feel honored to be a part of the show. And I really appreciate that, even in the weeks when he's not here, you allow me to come on here and regale you with all the great news and information. So no, I really appreciate, the support from everybody. I do miss him though. When he's not here, I miss him because I love bouncing off back and forth with Mario, and it definitely enriches the conversation to hear different points of view, or if I say something that gets his brain going, or vice versa, and then we extrapolate. And that's always the fun thing about podcasts. Today was a little fast and loose, covered a lot of topics though, and I'm very happy with it. So anyway, folks, remember the fanboy podcast at gmail.com. That's not the right one. Hold on. There you go. And you can send us those emails, or you could tweet at us at the Fanboy Show. You could tweet Mario at Superman on Film. You could tweet me at Super Breckon. Any of those ways you can get to us. Give us a topic. Give us a suggestion. Give us a question. Give us some love. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. Hit that little bell and get those alerts when we upload a new video or something. Subscribe to the podcast. Please leave us reviews. The reviews help us in the algorithm, and then our show comes up more in searches, and then more people can do it. Please share with your friends. Please, word of mouth is like the greatest gift you can give. Tell everyone about the podcast. And that's it for this week, folks. So as we always say, be kind and stay fanboy. Adios.